And welcome to 302 Sports. You know what time it is? It is our Pigskin Picks week number 9. And our Pigskin Picks are presented by Compete Event Management. They run wrestling tournaments throughout the state. They even have an apparel line that can be personalized for your tournament. Not looking to run an event, but looking for competition? Compete events are where you want to be. They are well run and they're well organized. Their next upcoming event is the Back to Schools Duels and Open, November 8th at William Penn High School. And we just so happen to have a part of Compete Event Management, Clay Lloyd. Clay, welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys having me tonight. Thank you.
And thank you for your support of 302 Sports. So let's get it started. We're going to go upstate, 8-9 Route 896. It's Saturday kickoff. Newark and Glasgow. Newark 5-3, Glasgow 3-5. Trey.
Yeah, we got a chance to first time these three schools are all in the same class, have a chance to win the Christina School District title. Newark's coming off a tough loss to Conrad with while the Dragons have won two in a row. Both teams averaged two touchdowns a game, but Glasgow's defense has allowed 188 points this year compared to Newark's 48. Yeah, Newark took a tough one last week, but I think they come to play. I think their defense definitely keeps the score low, and their offense finds a way to get it done. I'm gonna get Newark.
All right, Clay, who do you got, the Yellow Jackets or the Dragons?
Yeah, Newark, as Trey said, coming off that tough loss last week. Glasgow did score 30 points last week, which is their highest total for the season. But I think Coach Rice and the Yellow Jackets will bounce back and get the win this week.
The Dragons need a win to stay in the hunt for a state tournament berth. If either team wins out, they will make the state tournament. Glasgow's offense, they've come to life the last two games, but the Newark defense is good. Even with three losses, they still only allow an average of a touchdown per game. Give me Newark here. Let's move to Class 2A. 2-6 Milford, 4-4 DMA. It's at Delaware Military. Thursday night, 7 o'clock kickoff, Trey.
Yeah, both these teams have had ups and downs this year, and lately Milford has had been more on a down, while DMA is starting to get hot with wins over St. Mark's and Polytech these past few weeks. Since Milford's win over Delmar in week 4, they've struggled to score on offense, which is, we saw in those first 2 weeks. They were lighting scoreboards up. Now they're struggling. They've only averaged 3.5 points a game since then. Milford lost to St. Mark's. DMA beat them by 5. Both lost pretty handily to Red Lion. I like DMA at home here. They're starting to find their hot streak.
And Clay, Milford and DMA.
Yeah, Milford's lost 4 in a row. I think they'll give DMA a tougher game than most people will think. And as much as I'd like to pick a Henlopen team to get a win here, I have to give the edge of DMA at home on Thursday night.
And looking at this 2A tournament, it's probably going to take a 3.0 index to get in. DMA is sitting at 2.1, and they have limited bonus points available. So they're in a must-win game with a team that has no pressure and an outstanding running back in Drew Civils. I think the Seahawks keep their postseason hopes alive Friday. DMA wins here. Let's go up north. Wilmington Charter at Christiana, 11 a.m. Saturday morning. Wilmington Charter 1-7, Christiana 3-5.
Yeah, these are two teams looking to end their season with some positivity the next 2 weeks, looking to find little wins within the game, and hopefully find some overall wins. And they're both young and they're built for the next year. They have tons of juniors. It could give us a look ahead to next fall and potential runners in Class A. Just kind of looking at their common opponents. Wilmington Charter seems to give up a lot more points to the common opponents than Christiana did. So I'm going to take Christiana home.
Play Christiana and Wilmington Charter.
Yeah, I remember a long time ago going to watch Christiana play on a Saturday morning when they had Jamie Duncan, who ended up going to Vanderbilt and played in NFL and stuff. And that Saturday morning game is just, it has a different feel to it. I know both teams normally play on Saturdays for their home games, but yeah, I agree. I got Christiana winning this one.
And I've probably seen more games on Chapel Road than you, Clay. I grew up watching Christiana football.
There
People
you
don't,
go.
everybody thinks I'm just a Southern guy. I originally came from Newcastle County. But the Vikings came into the season in a rebuilding mode, and I think we're seeing gradual improvement here in the backstretch of the season. Christiana gets the win and a chance to pull even on the season against their old rival, Newark High School, next weekend. Christiana wins here. Big 2A game, Friday night, 7 o'clock kickoff, 6-2 Odessa and 4-4 St. Mark's. Trey.
Yeah, man, it can't get much better than Halloween night at the graveyard. If we see the St. Mark's team that beat Archmere earlier in the season, it could be a very long night for Odessa. But they're gonna have to keep up the scoring of the Ducks. We've had the Ducks on these slates a few times now, and each time they put some points up. And they're both fighting for state tournament spots. So whoever can manage these emotions of this big game, it's probably the ones that come out on top. Looking at their common opponents again, they both played Polytech. Both gave up. They both won pretty big, and then they both lost to Indian River handily. Just kind of looking at the common opponents, St. Mark's, their defense seems to give up a little less. I like that at home in the graveyard. I'm gonna go St. Mark's.
Clay.
Yeah, Dessa scoring a ton of points. They're averaging 37 points per game in their last five, and Coach Donardo has the Spartans averaging 25 in their last five. So has a potential of being a really high scoring game. I do think whichever team can get their defense kind of established early could really pull the win out. And I'm giving the slightest edge to the Spartans on their senior night.
Potential elimination game. Even with 4 losses, St. Mark's is hanging in there for a chance for a playoff berth. And give credit to their schedule. The bonus points they will earn, but they need to get by a really game Odessa team first. But how do you pick against a team whose field is called the Graveyard on Halloween night? You don't. St. Mark's surprises everyone and gets a win here on Friday night. Let's move to Saturday afternoon. 1-7 Tatnall versus 3-5 Wilmington Friends. A 2:30 kickoff. It's senior day for the Quakers. Trey.
Yeah, Tatnall, they won the Independent Conference Championship last year during their run in the Class A state finals. But this move up to Class 2A has just been an adjustment for the Hornets. And a win by the Quakers sets up a championship game for that Indy title next week with their rival Tower Hill. Um, I think Wilmington Friends is destined to get to that championship there. I'm going to go Wilmington Friends at home.
Clay, Tatnall, Wilmington Friends, independent conference game.
Yeah, I do agree. Wilmington Friends Senior Day. I think the Quakers, obviously have got something to fight for here, working for that championship. So I think the Quakers win this one.
This was a little bit of a substitution game as we were supposed to be picking Caravel Sally's, but as people have heard, Caravel is forfeiting that game this week. And just when I thought I was done, I'm able to say Alapocas again for the senior day for the Quakers. Pops up on the schedule. One of the best places in the state to watch a Saturday afternoon high school football game. Wilmington Friends gets the revenge, setting up a chance to win some hardware next weekend at Tower Hill. Our Thursday night game of the week, I'll have this call with Jim Tack. 6-2 Sussex Tech, 4-4 Laurel. Thursday night, 7 o'clock kickoff.
Yeah, Sussex Tech was rolling on in the last week's game, but Indian River kind of made them look average. But Indian River's done that to a lot of teams this season. And, Laurel, they lost 3 in a row and something we haven't seen in recent years. Sussex Tech doesn't have a lot of bonus points coming to improve their index. So it's kind of like a must-win game for them. They've had a great season, 6-2. They've put points on the scoreboard. Tough week last week. I think Tech finds a way to go into Laurel and leave with a win. I'm going to go Sussex Tech.
So a couple of Henlopen teams here with a history.
Yep, I remember as a player and as a coach traveling down to Laurel, man. It still is a tough environment to play, regardless of the record or the results of the previous week's game. You always knew you're going to get the best from the Bulldogs. Ravens had a great win 2 weeks ago against Delmar. The last week ran into the Indians from Indian River. I really flip-flop back and forth, but I'm going to go with my first thought, and I'm going to go with the Bulldogs, actually.
State tournament begins Thursday night for Sussex Tech. They most likely need to win out. As Trey said, they don't have a lot of bonus points coming. Laurel controls their own destiny as well, but a loss here, they're still alive with a 5-5 record. Sometimes teams just kind of own certain opponents. Laurel has won the last 4 games over the Ravens decisively. You have to go back to 2016 when Mark Quillen was the head coach at Sussex Tech the last time the Ravens beat Laurel. Brad Ellensworth has done an outstanding job with the Ravens. He has this team in a position to make the postseason. The Bulldogs have lost every game we've done on 302 Sports this season, and that's rare, as we're used to calling Laurel wins. I believe we're going to call a Laurel win again this week. Laurel pulls the upset in what I think will be some sloppy field conditions in western Sussex County. Saturday noon, Sussex Central versus number 6 ranked St. George's. Sussex Central 3-5, St. George's 5-3. Trey.
Yeah, who's going to bounce back from a disappointing loss? Both these teams kind of took it on the chin last weekend. Central's upset in a thriller against Caesar Rodney. Very, very offensive game. Both offenses really found the end zone. And St. George's, although not surprised they lost to Smyrna, I don't think they expected the Eagles to put 44 on them. These two teams are very similar in style, the way they play. They've had up and down seasons. Um, I like St. George's at home. Felt kind of Central, kind of worn down in the second half. Got to watch that last week. So I'm gonna take St. George's at home.
Play St. George's. Your Eagles lit them up last week. A little bit surprising, not that they won, like Trey said, but by the amount.
Yeah, Smyrna did a really great job, and I think a lot of people were surprised overall of that score. But yeah, this game's particular, Coach John Wells and Coach John Wilson of St. George's, two great coaches. Never count out a John Wells coach team, whether it's football or softball. They lost to CR last week, and St. George's lost to Smyrna. But I'm actually going to pick the upset with the Golden Knights traveling north to beat St. George's.
All right. So let's go to our Friday night game of the week. It's 7 o'clock kickoff Friday night. It's going to be a game has been moved to 5 o'clock, folks. It's number two Lake Forest and Woodbridge. Lake Forest 8-0, Woodbridge 1-7. Trey.
Yeah, this Woodbridge team's very young, and they're going to need this to be a low-scoring game to have a chance. And there's a reason you play the games. But not only is this Lake Forest offense explosive, they can also play lights out defense. I think we're going to see what we've seen the last 9 weeks of Lake Forest. They're gonna put points on the board. They're gonna shut this Woodbridge offense down. But that's not to say Woodbridge is gonna come out with a fight. They play well at home. They're not gonna back down. But I like Lake Forest here.
Playing Henlop and South game.
Yep. Wow. When I saw the week two score of Lake over Cape, really caught my attention. So Coach Johnson has the Spartans rolling, rolling, rolling down there. And as long as they're not overlooking the Raiders from Woodbridge to the final game against Indian River, I think the Spartans win this one.
Somewhere between Greenwood and Felton, maybe a little south of Farmington, there's this blurry borderline. And over the years, these two schools, they've lost athletes from choice to each other. Many of the families are related. The bloodlines run deep in these two communities. Both coaches have had some winning seasons in the past, in fact, championship seasons. But for some reason, this year, everything seems to be coming together at the right time for Freddie Johnson and the Spartans. No tricks in this one, only treats for the Felton guys. Lake Forest wins and sets up a huge showdown with Indian River next Friday night. So I know it's football season. We all love high school football, but right around the corner, Clay and Trey, is the greatest sport of all time. Wrestling, and especially Henley Open Conference wrestling.
Yeah, man, I can't wait. November 10th. Weekend of some change.
Yeah, I
Clay,
mean,
tell us a little bit about Compete Event Management. And I know you're the apparel line guy. Talk a little bit about the apparel line.
yeah, well, the Paraline really was between me and Jody Wilson. We started to compete with just trying to give the youth and local wrestlers in the state of Delaware just an opportunity to honestly compete, find a way to get out, and whether win or lose, just get out there through competition. And then the process moved to, well, while we're at these tournaments, we could be selling some apparel and things like that. So we offer some shirts, sweatshirts, beanies at the local tournaments. We do some local schools gear if they want, but we really just enjoy the opportunity. And we're moving to New Jersey with some events. We've got some stuff going in Maryland and everything. So everybody seems to like what we're doing. And ultimately, as you know, Benny and Trey, that me and Jody love the sport of wrestling so much and just want to give opportunities. And it's really neat just over the years through all the youth tournaments. You see these kids move up through the elementary level, through the middle school, then the high school, and you see them successful at the state tournament and just being a part of their journey. Just we really do appreciate the opportunity.
And how wrestling has evolved, especially tournament event management. Clay, I'm sure you've written your fair share of bout sheets over the
Uh,
years.
Yeah, it is amazing with the technology. Like anything, as long as the technology is working,
Right.
obviously the tournament runs pretty efficient. But yeah, it's amazing how it's come and how people from other states or if it's family members can follow along online to see their grandkids wrestling or competing, whatever it is. So yeah, we enjoy the process. We get just as busy. I think we have right now at least 18 to 20 events on the schedule right now. And yeah, so we're spread thin some weekends. We're splitting up going to two different locations, or I think there's even one weekend we might have three or four. So yeah, we're just trying to give those people an opportunity, and we just look forward to a great season.
And circle date, was it the first Wednesday in January? 302 Sports will be in Smyrna for the rivalry, the Caesar Rodney Riders and the Smyrna Eagles. Uh, Probably the biggest wrestling rivalry in the state. Wouldn't you guys agree?
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, I remember my senior year when Smyrna got that new gym. That place was packed to the gills. So
Yeah.
it's just fun to be a part of. I mean, obviously it's a rivalry. We're not going to like each other for about 2 hours, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of respect there. Two great programs, and we just with the pun here, we like to compete, man. So it's great.
No, it truly is. And Trey, I mean, me and you have both lived it as wrestlers, and
Yep.
I coached in it, and you are now, which is awesome. And again, I just go to the word respect. I think when you have two programs that just really draw the best out of you as an opponent, like that's really what you want. And we look forward to it every year. I'm sure as you guys do. And during a match, we're rivals and we get after it. But I think through that process, you just earn a lot of respect for each other. And I just have great memories as a wrestler and a coach working through it. And yeah, we always look forward to it for sure.
Yeah, man. When you've been in it, when you've gotten to wrestle in it, like we did in coaching it, it's tough. It's a battle. It's a war. We get after it, like you said, but definitely when you leave, there's a lot of respect just being a part of it. It's fun.
Yep,
At the end of the day,
absolutely.
it's wrestling. It's tough, but it's not fun while you're doing it, right?
Yeah. And we're all better for it. That's for sure.
Yep.
Clay, thanks for coming on, and thank you and Jody for your sponsorship of 302 Sports, as it will continue through in the wrestling season. And we have a big wrestling lineup coming up, but we got to finish high school football first. We're in week 9 and the playoffs to go. So thanks a lot, folks. See you at kickoff on Friday night.